Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another week of Good Guys Sports. Joined by myself, your host, Blake Gerke, Jackson Gerke, Mike Roby, and BL Lineberger. And we have a great holiday special here. Good Guys Sports here to close out the holiday season. We have a great, exciting show for you. We're going to be previewing some big NFL matchups. Tonight's game taking place in Seattle. Some big college football first round playoff matchups happening this weekend as well. And then we're going to be looking back on what was a wonderful year in sports, for Good Guy Sports as well, and the sports world as a whole. We're talking about some of our favorite moments, players, teams, etc., that we were most excited about this past season. So we got a really great show for you all here to close out the holiday season, or should I guess get started the holiday season really with Christmas coming next week, isn't it? But Jackson, we got a big game tonight that we should be shifting our attention to in Seattle, which is the Seahawks hosting the Los Angeles Rams. Both these teams sitting with identical records. Both of these teams are sitting atop of the NFC record wise, but obviously both being in the NFC West, only one of these teams can come out with the NFC West crown, right? And the Rams took the first game in this series that was in LA, but tonight is going to be a raucous crowd in Seattle. A big opportunity, I think, for the Seahawks to assert some dominance over the Rams. I've heard a lot of chat about the LA Rams being the team to beat in the NFC and possibly even in the entire NFL. But this is a big opportunity, I think, for Sam Darnold, JSN, and the Seahawks to kind of cement themselves as a playoff contender. Jackson, do you agree with that?
I do, Blake, and this is by far, I think, one of the biggest NFL games of the year in the NFL calendar. Be, Probably behind the Chiefs Eagles back in September, but this one I think is the one that's circled that everybody has their eye on. So there's a lot of storylines heading into this matchup. So you have two young coaches going at it, with Sean McVay, who is 39 years old, and it's interesting because Mike McDonald is 1 year younger of Sean McVay's age. So I find that very fascinating, and also both of them, believe it or not, if you can believe it, both of them both of them went to high school in the Atlanta area. Sean McVay went to the Marist School, which is in Dunwoody, and Mike McDonald went to high school at Centennial, up in Roswell. So I do think there is a bit of connection there. But as for the game goes, oh, this is going to be a great matchup. So I look at this matchup heading into this one. So the Rams, I think the Seahawks will keep things close, and I think that the and so I think if Sam Dar so I think Sam Darnold just got to get his feet going, and just like step it on up, and Jackson Pickens-Jimba and those guys just got to really just run the ball and pass the ball, because the weather in Seattle is going to be raining, and it's going to be, and there's going to be some flood
Big
and some
surprise.
rain snow in the area. So it's going to be so it's really going to be hard to throw the football, and the Rams are going to be without Kyron Williams most likely in this game, but it's most likely probably listed as questionable heading into this matchup. So, but the but if I'm checking with the but if I'm checking with the full injury report for any of those for any of this matchup, that I do believe that I do believe that in this that I do believe what I'm seeing for as far as injury concern is that their offensive tackle Cross is going to be out. Only
Okay.
player in this for their defense for the Seahawks. And
Mhm.
other than that, the Rams have some questionable players in this game.
I
I
think Adams will be out, and I think
Yes,
Fisk maybe as well. But
yeah,
most
Fisk and
most of the
Adams
players
are
you'd expect to be there,
yes,
I think, will be there.
yes,
So it'll
Fisk and
be
Adams, right? And so I think Fisk and Adams are and yeah, so I think Fisk and Adams are going to be the players that are going to be out in this matchup. But as far as the game goes, it's going to be a very close, high scoring affair.
okay.
I do think this will be a very close, high scoring game, depending on how it all unfolds and play out. So the winner of this game obviously goes to the road to the Super Bowl. You watched this game for the Seahawks last week. They went up against a 40-year-old Philip Rivers, and he almost,
44 even.
I know, he almost won that game,
Yeah, that was
except
pretty crazy.
Kobe Bryant had the pick six in that game, and that was the difference there. And so I think for me in this one, I it's wow, this is going to be a toss up for me. This game could go either way. Um, as much as I hate to say it for our Seahawks fans that are listening, including you, Miss Karen, I hate to say it, but I think the Rams are going to win this
Jackson,
one
Oh
Jackson,
by
no. What are you
wait right
a
doing, man?
there.
field goal.
Jackson, wait a second. Are you kidding me?
No,
Jackson, I sit 12 inches away from an office held by Marcus Burley. Okay. He played for the Seattle Seahawks. He's not going to like this, man. I'm here to tell you. It's okay, though. I'll let him know tomorrow that you chose against him, and we'll see what happens tonight. He's not going to like this at all. Big
hey,
fan of the show. Big fan of the show.
hey, I've got no problem with that, Blake. Nothing against me. It's just that the Rams just brilliant. The defense was all over on Sam Darnold, and he did not play his best game because the Seahawks playmakers were not available in their last meeting in the game, and they were just
Jackson, why is
pretty
there
much
no
busted
love for
coverage.
Sam Darnold? Why does
You got to
nobody
give him
have
some
any
credit.
love for Sam
You
Darnold?
know, I think
This has been year long.
Well,
he's turned the ball over a little bit, and I think he's doing what he's been asked to do. I mean, you can't argue with the results. The Seahawks defense is probably the standout unit from that team. But yeah, I mean, you have to say Darnold has been impressive so far. I mean, Mike, would you agree with that? You think obviously, I think Matt Stafford, he's an MVP candidate. You know what you're
Yeah.
going to get from him, but have you been impressed from Darnold's play so far this season?
I have, but I'll tell you, offense sells tickets, defense wins championships. And I think that's the key for tonight's game. I mean, the Rams offense is probably the best in the league. I mean, they scored last two games 40 plus points and gained 500 yards in their last two games. But the Seahawks probably
Okay.
have one of the two best defenses in the league. Other than the Texans.
Yeah, I'd say the
I
best
think
best in the NFC, I would say. Yeah.
they really do. Uh, the weather may end up being a factor in this game because the probably the weak spot in the Rams defense are the outside corners. And with the wideouts that Seattle has and Sam Denard, I would think that the Seahawks are going to work on those cornerbacks of the Rams and score some big. Lions did it last week with two receivers over 130 yards. So I think it's going to be a close game, but the 12th man is going to take it. Seattle wins by 3.
Nice, nice. I love it. I love it. I'm with you, Mike. I think it's going to be tight. The weather is going to be it's going to be low scoring. I think Jackson said it was going to be a high scoring game. I disagree. I think the weather and the Seattle defense will be able to put the clamps on this high scoring Rams offense, and I do think it will be end up being a bit of a cagey game. I mean, we even saw in the Seahawks victory against the Colts last week it was 6 field goals that ultimately got them the win, right? So unconventional, but their defense is really able to put the clamps on a lot of teams. If they're able to do so, They're obviously going to need JSN to get open and Darnold to find them and avoid the mistakes as well against the Rams defense. Obviously, Darnold has been good, but he has been a little bit loose in terms of his interceptions, fumbles, and whatnot. So um, I'm with Mike. I think it's gonna be a close, low-scoring game. I don't think we're going to see a lot of. I don't think we're going to see a lot of offense, but I have the Rams winning a close one, 12th man advantage.
You mean the Seahawks?
Excuse me. Seahawks winning this one, 12th man advantage. A close game, big atmosphere, crowd noise, all that. I think will play to the Seahawks' advantage. So I'm going Seattle. BL Lineberger, you gonna join us on that one?
You know it, baby. I can't go against Marcus. Seahawks gonna take it, man. They you mentioned the 12th man. I think there's something to that. Don't overlook the fans getting super behind the game. It matters. Seahawks win.
Hey, Beal Umber, before we move on, let us not forget that Cooper Cup gets to return to his um gets to play against his former team um in a division rival. Another person that comes to mind is Saquon Barkley, where he gets traded from the Giants, goes down the turnpike to play for the Philadelphia Eagles. So
It's a
so
long
so
term hop, Jack.
yes, and that is a perfect example of how I
Wait,
feel like a
wait,
player's
wait.
icon is.
Cooper Cup plays for
He previously
now,
played
right?
for the Rams,
He's a
and
Seahawk
he
now,
now
yeah.
plays for the
Wow.
Seahawks.
I did not know that. I gotta
Cooper,
keep up. Good note. Almost reminds me of the Christian McCaffrey game we saw earlier, the little 49ers Carolina action earlier this year as
That's
well.
right. That's right. And having lived in Charlotte most of your life, and you know well, I am I'm you know very well, Blake, and I know it well there. So before we move on to the next topic, as for the Seahawks, Blake, I mean, is that now let us not forget that if the Seahawks do win, which they probably will, but I highly doubt it. You never know because if I get my
You
prediction
just picked
wrong,
the Rams.
I know I picked the Rams, but that doesn't mean I guarantee that they're going to win
Okay.
tonight. But let's say
Okay.
if I'm wrong, we can check back for another day together as a whole family. Is that you can prove me wrong that Puka Shell Nakua is still a weapon that you got to deal with on the field along with Kyron
Absolutely.
Williams and Blake Corum and those
Listen, the
guys.
Rams are 11-3 for a reason. They're a good football team, man.
I know, and that's my point because
I know. I know.
all I'm saying to you, Blake, is that if the Rams win, it will still be a 50-50 shot because they still have to go on the road at the Panthers um
Ooh,
at the Panthers
You
tough place to
next
go.
next
mean
Sunday, yes.
Jackson.
Because let me tell you something. The
Bank of
Panthers
America,
let me tell you something.
the Bear Pit.
Let me tell you something, Blake. The Panthers, Carolina, that is, have surprised people. You watched their
No, that's it, Jack. You give us the last place team would get beat by 20. You give us the number one
let me tell you something,
team
Blake.
in the league.
Let me tell you something, Blake. The Panthers surprised people. They beat the Rams at home. They went into a hostile environment and
And
beat the Packers at
also
Lambeau
there you go.
Field. So
Thank you.
something
Thank you.
tells me, even though we're getting ahead of myself, that if I had to pick which game the Seahawks are going to lose, that it is going and then it is going to be the Week 17 um, matchup against Carolina, and that's
We'll
the
see.
one
We'll
that I
see.
have
Yeah,
Are we calling that trap
projected.
game? With a little trap game,
it could be.
Jackson,
It
right
could be. It
there?
could be a trap game for sure. But I think Jackson's right. I think even if the Rams do win this game tonight, or if the Seahawks win this game tonight, the division will not be decided because these teams are so close in record. So it's a big opportunity for one of these teams to make a statement in the NFC and the NFC West in particular. But like we said, there's still a couple of game weeks left. Seattle traveling here to Carolina, then finishing in
Then he finished against the 49ers.
against the Niners, who they themselves are not. They're not totally. They're
Their
not a.
Niners
Out
at
of it.
10-4.
They're not out of it at all. No, and the Rams actually traveled to Atlanta as well. And then they finish home at Cardinals, a bit of an easier one. So maybe the Seahawks have a slightly tougher end of the season. So this game tonight will be possibly even more important for them in particular. But just in terms of the before we jump off the NFL here, before the NFL playoff picture in general, as we see it right now, um, obviously the Rams are the number one seed. That will change possibly tonight, depending on the result. Bears, Eagles, Buccaneers, Niners hanging around there, the Packers hanging around there. There's some interesting playoff developments, you have to say, in the NFC. Similarly, in the AFC, Broncos have kind of established themselves as the team to beat. A huge win over the Packers last week, wasn't it? In that matchup, Patriots are looking pretty strong. Just although they did end up dropping that game to Buffalo, big comeback from them. So you can't rule them out for that AFC East crown at all, can you? And then Jacksonville looks like they're the with the injury to Daniel Jones. Listen, I'm not going to bet against a 44-year-old Philip Rivers, but I certainly think the Jaguars have that division on
Old man
lock.
Rivers.
I think for a 44-year-old, you can't ask for much more than that, can you? And then as well, Pittsburgh last night winning, or excuse me, not last night, Monday night winning at home to stake their case for the AFC North. Although as well, they still have to play Baltimore again. Granted, that game will be in Pittsburgh, so could be a bit of an interesting year. This obviously we have some there's thank God we don't have the Chiefs in the playoffs anymore. Sorry to all you Taylor Swift Kelsey fans out there, but we get a bit of fresh blood in the AFC. It looks like come playoff time. So, Mike, any interesting storylines you're following right now in terms of playoff picture, teams that you think look like they're primed for a big run here as we get later into the year?
Well, I'm not sure if they're primed for a big run, but I got my eye on the Panthers. They're playing the
NFC
Buck.
South is up for grabs, isn't it?
They're
You
playing
hear
the
that,
Bucks
Dax?
this weekend.
Massive
They're
game
both,
there.
I think, they're both knotted up at 7-7.
Hmm.
Mike, let me ask you. I need some advice. I've got Baker Mayfield on my fantasy football team. What do I do? How loyal of a fan should I be?
I think
Uh,
I think I think you bench him, man. The Buccaneers have been on a bit of a slide the past couple of
yeah,
weeks. Um, so I think Blake, you should be feeling pretty good about your Panthers. You have two out of the last three games of the year
yeah.
is Buccaneers versus Panthers. So it's basically like a little mini playoff for who's going to win the NFC South crown. So I think your Panthers have a good of chances as any
Yeah,
to
you got to play young.
you got to back your boy Jackson. Are you backing the Panthers for a playoff run here? NFC South champions, Carolina Panthers. Does that sound reasonable to you?
I mean, I might still stick with the Bucks, but I do think
Nah,
but if the,
Jackson, wait a
this
second.
guy
but I
just
will,
is
let me tell you something,
contrarian
Blake.
today, man.
I will tell you this. I will say this. If the Panthers sweep the Buccaneers, then that would be the first time ever that they will be division crowned since 2013, the last time they won it. But yeah, good for them. But the Buccaneers have been dealt with so many injuries. They lost their last games ever getting off a 5-1 start for the season, and I feel like injuries have let them down for the Buccaneers, and that was really why they find themselves in that position. But think about this: the Panthers win the NFC South, then that means then I'm pretty sure the wild card will not be coming out of the NFC South. I'm mistaken. So yeah, the winner of the NFC South goes to the playoffs, and the
Yeah.
loser is eliminated. That's really how it all works. And not to get ahead of myself, but who knows? Maybe we can get a Panthers Broncos Super Bowl, like in the same stadium where Super Bowl 50 was played,
That
the
would
one that my
surprise
parents
me.
went to. Um, Back in Super Bowl 50, and not to remind everybody, but the Broncos defense shut down Cam Newton and the Panthers in that Super Bowl. So not to
Right.
remind everybody, but that just gives you a
But you are.
idea on where things should be heading in the NFL. But overall, to your point of where the things stand in the NFL, yeah, there's a bit of it's a bit of a surprise on the AFC side where you had like new teams and you had Patrick Mahomes going down on a tour Achilles/ACL injury, going to be out for the remainder of the season. Most likely return as week one starter of next season. And Micah Parsons out with a torn ACL. That is a huge blow. and they have a divisional game this weekend in Chicago in the Monsters of the Midway against
Ooh,
the Bears. And I got to tell you this,
tell
and
me.
I got to tell you this right now: the Chicago Bears are the Cinderella last year's version of of the Washington Commanders.
Wow.
Caleb Williams is putting up numbers just like Jaden Daniels did last year, and they are on that same exact level. And Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams and their defense, if if and if and if and if the Chicago Bears play score on score on defense and they get so many interceptions and they make big plays and takes advantage of not turning the ball over by Caleb Williams, then they have a chance because the Packers without Michael Parsons, that's a
Hey,
huge loss. And yes, the Packers are still a great team with Jordan Love, even without their best player on the field, but
Yeah.
without Michael Parsons,
ask you this,
that's
Jack.
Go ahead,
huge.
Blake.
That's
Yep. Go ahead,
huge.
Blake.
What did I just see where they're thinking about building a new Soldier Field's going to be the pass? They're thinking about building a new stadium. Did I just read that today?
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
I read
So
it.
I think it
Yeah.
seems like a classic leverage situation where they're threatening to build a stadium in Indiana, even I think they said, which seems
Hmm.
a bit far-fetched to me, but I think they're just
They
basically trying to
riding the
apply.
Indiana gravy train right now, the college gravy train. Is that what they're
Maybe
doing?
they're trying to latch onto
They're
the Hoosiers' success. Yeah.
they're trying to move it to either the Arlington Heights, which is a suburb outside of Chicago, or up in Gray or Northern Indiana
Yeah,
would
no,
be
I
the
think they're
most
just trying to apply a
projected
bit of
spots.
pressure to the local people to get the funding for tax funding for building a new stadium in Chicago there. So we'll see. But
I
yeah,
thought
I would expect them to stay.
Is Soldier Field not nice? It looks nice on TV. Am I crazy that it's a pretty nice stadium?
Nicer on TV than in person, I would, from what I hear.
It
Okay.
it in person, it looks like they landed a flying saucer on top of
It's
the old
interesting.
Art Deco stadium.
Although if you watch the highlights of the Bears Browns game, it was in below triple zero digits. It was like very cold. It was like being in the North Pole or in Alaska or in Antarctica. That's what it felt like if you were at a Bears game last Sunday.
Yeah. Well, it's Chicago. It's supposed to be cold and windy and
That's
foggy.
right.
No surprise there. No
I
surprise
The
mean,
there.
history behind the name Soldier Field.
I don't know to be honest, but maybe
I
that's one
feel
that
like you would know this.
we can
Do
get
you
the
know that?
research team on that
yeah, I
and
think it was named would have been after the First World War.
might have just
No.
been like it's an older stadium, so yeah, probably just named after a recent war or something like that. But yeah, interesting story to follow for sure. All right, let's jump now to a little bit of college football chat. We have some big matchups coming, i.e., the college football playoff, which will be starting as we record here on Thursday tomorrow night. The first round matchup, Alabama will be traveling to Norman, Oklahoma, in an all SEC playoff matchup, 9 versus 8 seed. Very exciting game as well. On Saturday, we have some games. Miami taking on Texas A&M, Tulane taking on Ole Miss, James Madison traveling to Oregon. I would suggest those last two games I mentioned will be non-competitive because the CFP has decided to let in Mickey Mouse teams into the bracket here. No, I kid, but
Well,
Oh,
I think that
I think you're looking at
JMU is
yeah.
going to play tougher than anybody thinks.
so you think they'll
JMU's got probably one of the best defenses in the college ball.
so I think they'll cover the 21-point spread.
I think they'll cover the 21 spread, and in fact, I'll go as far as saying it'll be knotted up at halftime.
Whoa. Okay.
But I think Oregon will end up winning by 10 points at the end of the game.
Too much
But I
quality.
think that game's going to be a lot tougher because JMU has nothing to lose.
I
They're
really
going to
wish
be
you would have gotten Ole Miss. I think it would have made things a lot more interesting because of the coaching situation and the players.
hmm Yeah.
So maybe
But
not Mike's upset pick of the week, but Mike's game to keep an eye on. This game
that
might
would
be
not
more
be my
competitive.
upset. I do have a couple upsets, but
We have a new
that's not
category.
one of them.
Okay, so a new category, Mike's. This game might be closer than you think. Pick of the
Think.
week.
Yeah.
So out of curiosity, then, what is your upset?
Well, I got two of them.
Hmm. Go on.
The first one, because the second one will probably be more conversation. I have Miami beating Texas A&M,
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Ooh.
and
Like, oh,
I tell you what, you think the SEC teams that Texas A&M has played, they only played one SEC team with a winning conference record, and that was Texas.
Interesting.
All the other SEC teams that Texas A&M beat this year all had losing SEC records.
Hmm.
So I would argue that
So they're on fraud
strength of
watch.
schedule, and Miami's won their last four games. Of course, I mean, they didn't play a whole lot of people, but they won fairly decisively in all of those.
Yeah.
So they've gradually gotten better since October when they lost, to Louisiana and SMU.
Yeah.
So I think I got my eye on Carson Beck to have a bounce back, and if he plays air-free ball, I've got Miami winning this one in a fairly close game.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So if that isn't your major upset, what is your big upset of this first round then?
Oklahoma beats Alabama.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Is that an upset or is Oklahoma favored?
Well, I think a lot of the pundits have Alabama winning,
Right.
but I think at home I got Oklahoma. In my earlier comment, defense wins championships. Oklahoma, I think, has got a better defense than Georgia.
I agree.
Hmm.
I
And
agree.
Look what Georgia did to the Alabama offense.
Right.
-3 rushing for the game.
That's pretty impressive.
And
did Mike
Oklahoma does a lot of their uh, uh, sacks and such with just their front four.
did
So
Mike
that
just it's a route for Kalen DeBoer to go to Michigan? Did Mike just give us the playbook for Kalen DeBoer how to do?
No, I think DeBoer will stick around for a little
yeah.
bit longer, but
Only if he loses. Only if he loses. But if he wins, then he might change his mind. But that's really how it's going to go down. And yeah, tell you what. If Alabama loses this game, anybody listening in Alabama Tuscaloosa is going to be heating up and answering a lot of questions. After after this conversation, from what I'm hearing. But if that happens, but yeah, definitely going to be a lot of angry people out in Alabama. If that happens.
but Jackson, what do you make of these first round matchups? Any games standing out to you? Teams matchups that you will be keeping an eye on this weekend in the first games of the CFB?
So interesting enough, I have Texas Tech. Texas Tech is Texas Tech is going to beat the Oregon Ducks. They are going to beat them in the Capital One Orange Bowl, and they will get the winner of Oklahoma Alabama. I have Oklahoma beating Alabama in the first round. They won the previous meeting. They lead the head-to-head series over Alabama. They are going to go 3-0, 3-0 over Kalen DeBoer against the Alabama Crimson Tide. They are going to win. They are going to win that game in the first round. I have Georgia, and I almost will definitely beat Georgia, and John Summerall will be the head coach at Florida and coach his final game at Tulane and move on for the head coach for the Florida Gators next season. And then and then and then yeah, Oregon will, and then yeah, James James Madison will not make it far. Bob Chesney will be moving on from his head coaching duties and moving on to UCLA next season.
Shout out Bob
Oregon will be
Chesney.
moving on. Yeah, Bob Chesney. Yes, he will be moving on to UCLA to coach there next season for that program for the Bruins. And then and then Georgia, Ohio State. I have Miami beating Texas A&M
Okay, so you're
on
with
the
Mike
road
on
at
that one.
Kyle Field, and
What do you
and
guys know that
and
I don't?
yeah, you're the only one that's picking them, but I'm picking them,
Give me
and
the
whether you
Aggies.
like it or not, I am taking the Hurricanes
Okay,
to win that game in the hostile environment at Kyle Field.
fine.
Think about this. South Carolina had a big lead against those Aggies,
And
and
they're terrible.
but they were up big at halftime, but they let that one slip away and they lost that game. So it gives you an idea of how there are some areas that the A&M just the A&M is not good at times for the area that they struggle with, and that's really why I think Miami has a shot of a chance of winning that game. And I think no guarantees, but I think they'll beat the Aggies in the first round. They will face Ohio State, and I think, and as much as I love to see a Carson Beck against a UGA matchup as anybody would, which I would really love to see happen, but I don't think that's going to happen. I have Ohio State beating Miami, and then I have Georgia is going to beat Old Miss as they're dealing with a head coaching change in that program. And Georgia is going to move on, and they're going to be facing Ohio State in the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. I have Georgia beating Ohio State, Georgia going to the national championship game, and as for Indiana, Indiana is going to beat Oklahoma. They are moving on, and they're going to beat Texas Tech. Indiana's going to go to the national championship game, and I have Indiana winning the national championship.
Whoa.
Francisco Mendoza got his Heisman. That's his first step.
Right.
Think about this: national championship is going to be in Miami. Mendoza went to high school. He plays high school ball in Miami, and he wins and if he wins the national championship for his Hoosiers. Think about this. His whole family will be there. They're from the area down South Florida. It would be a dream come true for those Hoosiers after Mendoza is winning his first Heisman in program history as he won the Heisman last week and on Saturday night, which by the way I was very inspired of that speech that he did. Watching it with you and me, Brother Blake, I was very inspired about it.
He's no
Whole family and
Pavia.
Brother Blake. But I tell you what, him and Pavia, coming from the American community, they are very similar. Whenever you think about their athletic ability, very similar styles uh, of the ball when when their teams are on offense, and that's really different.
Okay, so you're high
Indiana,
on the Indiana.
I'm high
So
on the Indiana Hoosiers.
let me now
They
jump
are gonna yeah,
over to
the Hoosiers are gonna have a great comeback story. They are going to win it all. The Hoosiers, the greatest team in college football. I said it before last week. I'm going to say it again. The Hoosiers, the greatest team in college football, are going to win national championship,
okay.
and they're only getting better because, believe it or not, there are reports that are also hiring offensive coordinator Mike Shanahan to be their offensive coordinator. So things are getting a lot better up in Bloomington, Blake,
Wow.
and the Hoosiers are for real. The Hoosiers are the big deal, and they are going to win the national championship. And Mendoza is going to win his MVP, and he's going to win his national and they're going to win their first college football playoff national championship trophy in the gold color. And Mendoza is going to win
Yep.
MVP, and the Hoosiers and Mendoza are going to win is going to win his first ever national championship on January 19th
Yeah,
The
that's a
and
heck of
The
heck
Hoosiers
of a year
are
for the Hoosiers, man.
yes, the Hoosiers are, and I have the Hoosiers
I heard
winning
you.
the national championship.
You mentioned it about 3 times. Yeah, no, you're high on the Hoosiers, man. Are you buying what he's selling here, BL Lineberger? Are you buying into the Hoosier hype or no? Mike, are you buying into the Hoosier hype that Jackson's coming off here?
I just think Jackson stole my notes because that's exactly who I have.
You got the Hoosiers as well.
Yeah, I have the Indiana and Georgia playing in the final,
Okay, so
and
Sam,
Indiana coming on top.
interesting, interesting.
I
Okay.
got bad news for you guys. I've got bad news for you guys. There's a new football team in Indiana. It's the Chicago Bears. The Hoosiers are going to go down round one by 2 touchdowns. You heard it here
Against
first.
Bama or Oklahoma?
It's gonna be against Oklahoma. Mike's right. Kalen DeBoer's headed. He's got a quick trip all the way up to Michigan. Alabama goes down round one,
Wow.
and the Chicago Bears move to Indiana and take the fan base over.
So who do you have for the Natty then, Blake? Out of curiosity, if not Indiana,
Miami. I think the U's ready. They're hungry.
all the way?
The U,
Wow.
the U part three. ESPN's dying to make the U part three. Michael Irvin's gonna lead them all the way.
Wow. So Blake's got a 10 seed Miami winning the championship in their back gardens, literally their home stadium in Miami Gardens. That's a bold pick. I'd put some money on that right now before the odds get too short. But you know
He's
what?
been eating too much Duke mayonnaise.
I think he's been heavy on the mayo is definitely influencing that pick a little bit for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
you know what? I have maybe because I'm wearing green, my national champion prediction is going to be the fifth seed Oregon Ducks. I think they're not being talked about enough, and the reason I think Oregon has a really good chance is that they're on the side of the bracket that does not contain Ohio State and Georgia, who I think are two of, if not the best, the top teams in the country. I think the side of the bracket with Texas Tech, Indiana, Oregon is really benefiting from being on that side of the bracket in terms of who they can meet
Yeah.
in the finals. And
So you're
so
saying Oregon's going to get their revenge against Indiana?
exactly, exactly. And that
Uh,
was, it was a big win for Indiana, obviously, that game. But um, I think if they end up meeting in the Peach Bowl, it's going to be a different story. And I think Oregon will make it to the national championship game, and they're going to face Georgia in that one. It's going to be Oregon versus Georgia in the national championship, and I'm picking Oregon to win a tight game there, mostly because I don't like Georgia as a SEC rival. So I'm a little bit biased there, but I don't know. I just think Oregon benefit if they were in the same bracket as Ohio State and Georgia, I would not feel as confident. But I just think they're going to ride some momentum there and find themselves in the national championship game and get it done. So
Yeah, so believe it or not, Blake, the SEC has not won a national championship in like 3 years. The Big Ten has won the last previous two or three, so something has got to give. But if that drought continues, then I think
Paul
anybody
Fineault's
in
not
the
very happy about
championship
that, is
conference
he?
is no, he's not.
He's
Neither
gonna
has
pitch a
Greg
fit,
Sankey,
isn't he?
the SEC commissioner, and yeah, definitely going to be a lot of
Jackson,
unhappy people
we need to
down in the
fix the
southern,
SEC,
down in
Jackson.
the southeastern conference for those people down south. They are not going to be unhappy
Jackson,
after
I
what I
don't
just
know.
said.
What are we going to do about the SEC? We can't win
I
a
don't
championship.
know. The Big Ten just got better and stronger, man. That's all I got to say.
I will say this. I heard a cool new phrase. I think Mike might have coined this last year, but instead of the Atlantic Coast, you guys heard the All Coast Conference?
yeah,
Might be the new name if you heard this.
yeah, I've heard it.
Well,
I
the
mean,
ACC
it basically is. I mean, you got California in the ACC, really,
coast.
and Stanford.
And Stanford, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Clemson qualifies as being on the coast, but that's another
Yeah.
discussion. I guess
So you're saying that if the Ducks get past the Dukes, they'll run the table.
listen, Mike. I know you're high on the Dukes. I don't mean to offend you. Ducks versus Dukes. I know it's gonna be a good game. I don't disagree with you. I don't think the Dukes are gonna get rolled over, but I just think Oregon has benefited from facing against a potentially
Yeah.
Texas Tech, Indiana. And listen, I don't know anything about. I can't see the future again, Mike, but I'm making a prediction here based on the way the bracket has lined up. And God forbid the CFP is makes this thing structured and gives us a bit more to go off of. But the way that the dice have fallen here, it's Oregon's. I think Oregon could go on a run. But listen,
Yeah.
I mean the way it's going right now, it wouldn't shock me if Bama finds their way somehow. They
Yeah.
they probably get a couple calls from the refs too, won't they? So listen, I mean, who knows? It could end up being a very unpredictable college football season, postseason.
Well, if JMU were to advance, that would just put another wrinkle into the CFP.
Look, I'd love nothing more than a James Madison versus Tulane national championship, Mike. But I
I'd
wouldn't
like to
place.
see a JMU and Indiana play each other
Yeah, so they would possibly meet up in the semifinal Peach Bowl.
because Signetti 3 years ago was the coach at JMU.
Mike, if James Madison beats if James Madison beats Oregon, I'll give you a fiver. I'll give you
Yeah,
five Chris.
you gotta wear all purple
Okay,
in the
that's
next
fair.
show.
That's
You
fair.
gotta wear all purple the
I'm wearing
next
all
show.
purple if James Madison beats Oregon. Is that fair, Jack?
Blake has to
I
wear
I,
a shirt
I
that says
agree, and I think if we all picked Tulane, we would all wear green. If we all pick purple, but yeah, I do think I do think if that were to happen, then yes, I think we would all wear purple and just really support a Power Five conference school, other than Texas and Vanderbilt, and they're even and
Sure.
Duke being left out, like I
Got to
mentioned
give
on the
some
show
love
last week. But yeah,
to the mid majors. Yeah, yeah.
that's
Go
right.
ahead, B.L. Limburger.
Blake's got to wear a shirt that says "I cheer for Duke."
Like
Apostrophe S.
I said,
Apostrophe
I
S.
cheer for the Dukes. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Cheer for Duke. So
Dukes, Duke or Dukes. Yeah, it's
yeah.
same difference, right? Same difference. But yeah, no, we got a really interesting bracket here. Some great bowl games to look forward to New Year's Day, and coming into January as well. So should be a entertaining CFP
That's right.
as always.
That's right, Blake. And maybe they should add like the 68 field in
What?
football, like they do in March
You want
Madness basketball,
68 college football teams in the playoffs?
like they do in March Madness basketball. Why not?
They can't play that many games. What are you
It
talking
wouldn't be
about?
over until April.
Well,
Six
yeah.
Ridiculous.
I mean, maybe the college football playoff committee a year from now makes the sport even better than it was before. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. This sounds like a bunch of nonsense. I think the idea of adding more teams to
They'll
get
be
it,
playing year round.
yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit against the idea of just adding more teams for the sake of it. I'm not necessarily sure the solution to the CFP problem is just
That's-
adding
As
more
long as
teams.
Vanderbilt gets in, Blake's happy.
That's pretty much
That's right.
same
Blake,
thing
what's
with,
happened? Diego Pavia, he went from America's sweetheart to the opposite. What happened to
you
our
know what,
guy?
Blake? It's the same reason that Pavia was able to be this good this year is the same reason why he has had drawn critics as well, is because he's just a fiery, says what he thinks character. And obviously, he was not particularly happy with the Heisman result. I can understand that. I think he's a bit unlucky given the year that Mendoza had, but stay
The Johnny
tuned.
Football episode in the making, is it?
Exactly.
Browns.
I think we'll see more from Pavia, if not, in the media maybe as well. I think he's become a big character. But stay tuned for our last segment. Vanderbilt football will be featured in some of my predictions. Let's go ahead and jump to that as well, where we have our Good Guys Sports Wrapped. You're familiar with your Spotify Wrapped or other year in review. They're telling you what songs were you listening to, artists, TV shows, movies were you most into in 2025. We are going to be going around and telling you our favorite sports moment of 2025, our sports team of 2025, and our player of 2025. So some really exciting moments, players, years. I think it was a good year in sports as always. Lots happened, lots to recap. Jackson, I want to start with you, man. Give us your sports moment, team, and player of the year for 2025.
Well, my moment of the year is Alex Ovechkin from the Washington Capitals, where he became the all-time NHL score leader and he all-time score leader, and he set up numbers, and he became one of the best hockey players of all time, finally catching the great Wayne Gretzky among many others on the all-time scoring list. And Alex Ovechkin is an icon, and his time in the NHL was almost coming to an end. He could retire probably in the next few years or so, or if not sooner. But I think Alex Ovechkin to me is by far the most icon player, not just in all hockey, but in all sports. But the greatest athlete to do it on and off the ice, and as a human being and a burger person. But yeah, Alex Ovechkin is my all-time moment of the year athlete.
Oh, so that was your moment of the year was Ovechkin breaking Gretzky's goal record. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, very nice. So who was your team of the year 2025?
Team of the year has to be the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ah, yes.
Why? Because they finally beat the favorite in the upset of the Kansas City Chiefs. That they denied a Super Bowl free-peat, a first consecutive Super Bowl title. They all did it. They all did it on the Eagles' defense in a blowout. They did it in large part because of Cooper DeJean making the big plays in the big moments where it all matters, and Saquon Barkley and those guys also becoming MB, and Jalen Hurts becoming MVP, and believe it or not, Saquon Barkley and Cooper DeJean all did it on their birthday, which was very special, and they even passed out cake and sent out gifts to families, and it was very special. It was a special moment for them, and how they really deserved it. And I have to say, not every day do you see a athlete win a championship on their birthday, but the Eagles were actually happy to be that team, and that is why I have the Philadelphia Eagles as my team of the year.
That's a
Blake,
great pick. It's a great pick. There was a comprehensive victory in that Super Bowl, and they were a dominant team. No question about it. How about your player of the year, Jack?
my person of the year, you mean?
Yes, yes.
Uh, Alex Singleton of the Denver Broncos. Why? Because he came back after cancer and he won the Ed Black Courage Award from his Brazilians from cancer.
Oh,
And
wow, great pick.
another person comes to mind to that is if you ever watched the 30 for 30 about Stuart Scott in support of the Jimmy V Foundation, along with Robert Roberts of Good Morning America, and that's really a perfect example of that for what all the work that he does on and off the field, kind of work off the field with the charities and the families that he support with. But you get the idea. So he's a great guy and very nice player, very humble of what he does off the field, and really special guy to be around if you ever that you love. He's a very nice guy and very special. And yes, and I got to tell you, and really, and really, it does remind you of Stuart Scott, where he fought against cancer, but he passed away. But he would always be remembered. He's up in the skies in heaven, and he's always looking at after us. But I could tell you, I can tell you this, about Stuart Scott, that he was the one that started that were all started in sports television, where he would do the most icon awards when he did Sports Center back in the day, where he would along with Rich Eisen and Dave Patrick and those guys, Blake, that where he did the two words in sports where he would go booyah. And that's really one thing I remember about Stuart Scott, about his jokes and stuff that he does with sports and on the field, and how much of a laughter they bring to our audience. And I got to tell you, he was a very special guy, and that gave me a perfect example. But yeah, Jimmy B, who won the national championship at NC State, along with Coach K, who I believe are the most icon human beings off the court as a regular human being. But I think it was very special. But yeah, Alex
That's a good
Singleton,
pick. That's a good pick.
absolutely, and Alex Singleton to me does have the Stuart Scott connection, along with Robert Roberts and along with Robert Roberts and Jim Baldano, those guys, for those who fight against cancer.
Very
But
nice. Good pick. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Yeah.
yes. But for anyone who's fighting with cancer, I would just encourage you to just never give up, like Jim Baldano always says. But that I would encourage all of you to watch George Scott's speech, which was very inspiring, and it would definitely be something that I would highly recommend you do because it was very joyful and emotional and inspiring. But I highly recommend you watch speeches of Jimmy Bono and George Scott because there are some special moments, and I hear it's very inspiring. Here it's and I also hear it's very inspiring.
Absolutely, absolutely. Some great picks there, Jackson. Thank you for sharing. Mike,
Thank you.
let's jump to you for your sports moment, team, and player of the year, man.
All righty. Hey, thanks. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that it's only 54 more days until pitchers and catchers report.
You're always looking up forward to the pitchers and catchers, aren't
I
you?
love it.
So Jackson stole my thunder. I was going to say back in April 6th of this year, Ovi, but so I'll pick my runner-up sports moment of the year. It has to be the Game 7 of the World Series.
Great pick.
It did not end the way I wanted it to end, but boy, what a game. That was a game for the ages. I mean, it was just thrilling to watch. So, hats off to both the Dodgers and the Blue Jays for that exciting Game 7. So my sports person of the year, I got to go with Cal Riley.
Great pick. Great
I
pick.
mean,
The big
not only
The big
does he
dumper.
he has a great nickname, the Big Dumper. You got to give kudos. Somebody's got
Shout
a
out to the big
nickname.
dumper.
You know, playing catcher, hitting 60 home runs in the regular season, 6 home runs in the playoffs. He's the quarterback of the Mariners, and so shout out to Cal, the Big Dumper, as the sports person of the year.
Great pick.
Yeah, and then the team of the year, I have to go back to college football.
Ooh.
The Indiana
Ooh.
Hoosiers.
Ah,
Oh
yes.
yeah.
They
Oh
are they
yeah.
are my team of the year.
Even though we haven't seen them in the playoffs yet, though.
No, I
But
haven't seen them in the playoffs,
but
but
they put together a heck of a regular season, wasn't it?
I mean, they basically came out of nowhere. I mean, I guess last year they went into the playoffs, got knocked out the first round.
Yeah.
But, people are just like, what? Indiana football? Really? So, hats off to Signetti and his staff and the players on the Hoosiers. They're my team of the year.
Some great picks there, Mike. Yeah, I think some shout out to the Indiana Hoosiers, and we'll be keeping an eye on them as we progress through the CFP this year as well, obviously. Beal Limberger, what do you got here? Sports moment of the year, team of the year, and player of the year?
All right. So the sports moment of the year is going to be Rory McIlroy and
Great pick.
him picking up the Grand Slam, completing the Grand Slam of golf, and the moment when he walked away in the green, and just the relief, and not just him winning it, but the way that he won it, and blowing the lead, coming back, and still being able to finish was absolutely incredible. And him going to his knees because I don't think he had enough strength to stand up anymore. Incredible, incredible moment for us all to watch. My team of the year is going to be the Vanderbilt Commodores. I don't think they are getting the attention they deserve. I've talked about it before. Just the student size alone, their population is worthy of them being the team of the year. And then the player of the year is going to go to the Big Dumper, like Mike said as well.
Very nice. Some good picks. Some good picks for sure. Yeah. No, I had Vanderbilt one of my top contenders for team of the year as well. I think in terms of outshining expectations for sure. You have to put them up there for sure. So that's a good one. That's a good one. So for my sports moment of the year, team of the year, and player of the year. I'm going to start with my sports team of the year, and I'm going to go with the 2025 Premier League or 24/25 Premier League champions Liverpool. I'm wearing the jacket right now. They won the title kind of an unexpected title. They longtime manager left, and a new manager, Arne Slot, came in last season, and they weren't necessarily favored to win the Premier League title, the highest honors in English soccer, of course. But it ended up being a really great campaign. The likes of Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, some of the big Liverpool players really came through and led them to a fantastic title. So have to give a big shout out to Liverpool as my team of 2025. And I think my moment of the year, I'm going to go with a game that Jackson mentioned as well, which was the Super Bowl. And I'm going to pick out one specific moment from that Super Bowl, and it has to be our guy Cooper DeJean Jackson with a pick six. And I think it was a crazy play, unexpected. And I think once that pick six happened and DeJean brought it back to the house, that really got people thinking like, oh, this Chiefs dynasty, the Chiefs aren't immortal. They can lose a big game. Once that play happened, I think it really opened up the floodgates and possibly even we're seeing the effects of that now into this season where the Chiefs have been struggling this year, haven't they, compared to expectations? And they have been made to look like a more of a moral football team. So from that game in particular, just picking out one moment, it has to be for me, the Cooper DeJean pick six is my moment of the year. And my player of the year, I know Mike mentioned the 2025 World Series, but heartbreaker for the Jays, but I have to give it to Shohei Ohtani, don't I? We've mentioned Cal Raleigh here, a worthy candidate for the best MLB player. But I think as well we have to just mention the dominance that Shohei Ohtani brought into MLB, not even this year, but the last couple years. I think probably almost goes a little bit under the radar, given how great he's been the last couple of years. Kind of some of the unprecedented stuff that he's been doing, really in the postseason in particular. And I think as well we should mention his performance in some of these games where game four of the World Series, starting pitcher. Um, and then I think other game one as well, where he hit uh, two-run homer. I think six home runs in the postseason. Um, and he just really game in the NLCS as well, um, where he was on the mound for the sweeping of the Brewers as well. So I just think he deserves, as an individual player. I'm not necessarily a massive fan of the LA Dodgers, being a Braves fan, National League rival. They spend a lot of money. They get a lot of hate for that. But from a fan of baseball, and I think Mike, you probably can relate this as well. Just seeing somebody doing what he's doing, let alone during the regular season, but seeing him do it in the NLCS World Series, i.e., pitching, hitting to that high level, it's just unprecedented. So I think as an individual player, he deserves a lot of credit, which he doesn't get. But I think he's worthy of my player of the year, I would say.
That's a good pick. He is definitely on a different plane than anybody else.
100%, 100%. All right, well, I think we had some great selections here. Please let us know, all of our viewers and listeners on YouTube. Go ahead and pop in the comments yourself who you think the sports moment of the year, player of the year, or team of the year was for 2025. Please let us know as we're wrapping up a great year on Good Guy Sports, heading into the holiday season. Some great sports to look forward to here. So, Jackson, Mike, B.O. Lineberger, I want to say thank you. And I want to say as well to all of our viewers and listeners, happy holidays. And thank you so much for listening and sticking with Good Guy Sports in 2025. I think we've really grown as a show. And I think Jackson, Mike, B.O. Lineberger, I've really enjoyed doing the show with you in 2025 as we look back at the year that we had personally. So I want to say thank you to Jackson, Mike, Blake. Thank to you. Thank you to the three of you, and as well thank you to all of our viewers and listeners. And there's much more to come from Good Guy Sports in 2026.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you guys,
Merry,
and before we sign off, Blake, I highly recommend you watch the Fruity for Fruity Booyah by Stuart Scott, where he comes by a great family and two
Okay. Yep.
daughters,
We
and
gotcha.
and yeah, it's very inspiring. I highly recommend it. It's got a
Jackson,
bunch of tears and joy, and very emotional to watch.
Jackson, you're not wrong. He to this day, I still think he is my all-time and current favorite Sports Center host. I don't think it's gotten better than him to this day.
Oh, I agree, Blake. I agree. I agree.
Fantastic.
It's never the same without him.
Grew up with him. Cooler
Absolutely.
than the other side of the pillow, baby.
Oh yeah, he was
Absolutely.
by far the greatest generation of that decade too.
All right.
Hands
Thank you
down.
all for joining and listening, and have a great holiday season. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right,
Happy
thank you.
holidays.
Happy holidays.
Good night.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.